What is gained by shutting down the government? They have to do it. The way the law is written. If the budget isn't renewed, and the higher debt isn't approved, non-essential services stop. It's sort of like the fallback position if nothing happens. As to why they allow it to get to that point every year. Genuinely just political games. Who thinks who has more power? Who thinks they can hold out longer? Who thinks they will be blamed more by the public, etc. They know it'll reopen at some point and know it'll hurt both sides. But also know it'll hurt one side more depending on the circumstances. Really stupid system, and it's wild how they use it for this stuff. It's pretty sad when you realize that 87% of the budget is streamlined without any oversight or vote. The remaining 13% is what they are fighting about during these shutdown threats. It hurts people, and that is to the political advantage of some. Nothing is gained by the shutdown itself. But those who don't care about the government functioning well can use it as a bargaining chip against those who do actually care about the government functioning well. Do what we want or we will not pass your budget. And we don't care how long a shutdown goes, and you do. In this case, Trump also told those loyal to him that they should do it explicitly because he thinks voters will blame Biden even though he doesn't have anything to do with it. And again, since he doesn't care about the country or the government, something that costs him nothing but hurts a political rival is a win-win in his opinion, as stated openly and publicly. It's blackmail disguised as a negotiating tactic. This time it has two layers. One side hopes to blackmail the other into cutting government spending, and a small faction of that side wants to blackmail all of Congress into promoting their clownish desires. The sick part is those idiots shutting it down still get paid. The so-called House Freedom Caucus does not believe in compromise. And they are the reason this is happening. In order for Kevin McCarthy to finally get elected Speaker, he had to give them all sorts of concessions. And his majority is narrow enough that they can defeat anything he tries to bring to a vote. And they have threatened many times to force a vote to remove him from office if they don't get their way. The issue here is that they actually want a shutdown, as does their cult leader Donald Trump. And McCarthy, at least so far, is completely unwilling to pass a budget by working with Democrats, as that will further alienate the right wing of his caucus. So he's in a huge bind right now. Eventually he's going to have to either work with Democrats to pass a budget or, less likely, the House Freedom Caucus is going to have to decide to back down and end the shutdown with a budget that doesn't contain what they want. Either way, there's almost certainly going to be a vote to remove him as Speaker. And it is anyone's guess what happens then, since very few people are going to be willing to take that job considering how impossible it is to do with a razor-thin margin and a group of reps who are utterly unwilling to compromise with anyone, including their own party. Just remember that every government shutdown in the last 30 years has been from a GOP-controlled House. A House that passed a bill to keep getting their own checks while hundreds of thousands of people get furloughed over political rage bait moves to try and make everyone else look bad. The honest answer is right in front of your eyes. A radical minority group of Republicans want to burn down the whole government because they are pissed that they are rapidly losing the demographics that will help them retain power in the future. They are trying to hold the government hostage to their ransom demands, which are broadly unpopular and unwanted by the majority of American voters. It's not a secret. They've been announcing exactly what they're doing. One group is holding the U.S. economy hostage to get concessions on their more outlandish budget demands. The cruelty is the point. Republicans are purposely mucking up the system so they can turn around and say Biden mucked up the system. The only thing gained is further mistrust and apathy about the government. There is not a single positive aspect. Nothing is gained at all. Many things are lost. Shutdown is so sucky that the people causing the shutdown believe that the other people will do anything to stop a shutdown from happening. Kind of like a terrorist with a gun pointed at a little kid. Republicans use government shutdowns as a way to force governing Democrats to capitulate to their demands and to smear Democrats in the eyes of the public so they're less likely to vote for them in the next election. It's blackmail, using the public as leverage. What's funny is the officials don't even care because their millions of dollars come from insider trading and lobbyists. I know you don't want "Republicans suck" as an answer. But it's the truth. Republicans have decided in recent years that holding the government hostage is an acceptable negotiating tactic to force policy objectives not popular enough to pass through legitimate channels. This is the fourth time now Republicans have shut down the government in the past decade. One of them while having unified control of the government. The Republican Party is fundamentally uninterested in running a functional government, or at the very least, view running a functioning government as a low enough priority to be an acceptable sacrifice to get their way. Nothing. It's purely political. Here's the worst part, which a lot of people miss. The government doesn't get shut down for lack of a budget bill. It gets shut down for lack of a spending bill, i.e. Congress already authorized virtually all of the agencies' programs that exist. They just regularly refuse to approve spending for agencies and programs whose existence they've already approved. Nothing. Congress still gets their paycheck while others suffer. When the government shuts down, a lot of citizens' lives get slowly ruined, which creates a lot of political will to do something that was previously politically unpalatable. Matt Gaetz and MTG want to do a lot of things that pretty much no one else wants to do. They have just enough power to shut down the government, and suddenly they have the remote to control the crippling economic pain for many thousands of Americans. Suddenly they get to call the shots unless Republicans and Democrats get together and make a plan that doesn't involve Gaetz or Green. But apparently the government is too partisan for that to happen.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.